is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, verses 1 through 11. When they were approaching Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany, near the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it and will send it back here immediately.'" They went away and found a colt tied near a door outside in the street. As they were untying it, some of the bystanders said to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" They told them what Jesus had said, and they allowed them to take it. Then they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy branches that they had cut in the fields. Then those who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our ancestor David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Then he entered Jerusalem and went into the temple, and when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12.
That's right, friends. Could you all draw your palm branches? All right, Jim, this is how we say hi to you, okay? 1, 2, 3, wave hi.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Okay, Jim, so this is your first time coming to Vermont Hills, I think.
If it's not my first, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. All right, so we want to just welcome you.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. I have had the pleasure of being the food security manager at Neighborhood House for the last 7 years. And for the last 7 years, it's a team game for sure, but thank you. For the last 7 years, I've seen food insecurity grow exponentially. I've grown with my team, our program, along with it, but that meant working out of the same tiny building. So when I say we grew in need, we grew in staff, we grew in volunteers, we grew in the amount of food we were able to push out of that little building, but we still had a little tiny building that was completely inadequate for the job, yet somehow we managed. I'm happy to inform you now we have a new space. You probably heard rumors of it. It's over on Barber Boulevard. It's our free food market. It opened on Monday to the public. Yeah. We had a huge turnout. People were really waiting a long time for us to be prepared for this, and they responded. They were there on Monday. Crowds of people. It was really, really something to see. Do you have a question, sir? 30th and Barber, right next to Muchas Gracias. You can visit us, and you can get a burrito if you want. Yeah. I invite you to come check out the space since it just opened. Some of you may have seen it before. It was fixed up when it was mostly empty. It's absolutely wonderful now, filled with glorious furniture that was donated by Nike. We have a storage space that's almost as big as this room, whereas we had a tiny, I can't even describe how small the space was that we had before just to store our food. We have a walk-in fridge, a walk-in freezer, so we have more capacity. And we're really in a position now to help a lot more people. But the need is still there, especially in terms of the food itself. We are right now in a position where the need is growing, is continuing to grow, and the availability of food from places like the food bank is starting to diminish a little bit for reasons that I'm sure you're aware of. It's things like meat, staples, rice, the FDA foods, or the foods that they buy off the farmers, are not getting anymore, so there's less produce, fewer staples, all that kind of thing. So that's where we're at now. Big, new, wonderful space. We're able to work with the people that we have, but the amount of food is still not where it ought to be. We could fill that room up, and we're not quite there yet. And the way we're planning to do it is by leveraging our community connections and folks like you that are already doing the things that I would recommend people do, which is a food drive, donating money, which I have a pile of quarters, so I know we got some money. You can volunteer your time. Those are all things that you can do right now that would be helpful. Money's nice, but food's good too. We have a donation door, and we have all kinds of needs in that area. So what I don't want is for people to be fooled by this new space and think we've got it made. It's just the first step. And now that we've got the space, we're ready to utilize it to its full capacity. And that's where Southwest Hope comes in, because Southwest Hope is, during this time of year, every year, we work with the faith community, and we stand in front of congregations like yourselves to make this pitch and to invite you to join us in the effort, because without you, there would be no us. And I just want to make that perfectly clear. A lot of people think, I'm doing it all, or my team's doing it all, and we're just the vehicles, and it's all of the people that are behind us that are making it happen. This is a great community in this area, really, really engaged, and when I speak in front of groups like this, it always blows my mind. You don't see that in every part of Portland. So it really is a special community here. But I want to follow it up with any questions you might have, because there's usually a lot. Yep. Yes. I was going to mention, the garden, that's the other thing. Yes, please garden produce is super helpful. Produce is one of the things we'll have less of in the summertime. And I was going to mention the Vermont Hills. That's how I know you guys so well, because all that produce comes in, and I see it on our lists of the donors. Huge donations from this congregation, and I want to give you a big thank you for that as well. Thank you for bringing that up. We work with the Tiger Food Bank, but I belong to a group called CAFE, which is the Coalition to Advance Food Equity, that is made up of about, 15 or 20 organizations that are all in Southwest that have attacked the food issue from different angles. And we meet quarterly. They've written grants that we've been able to use to purchase food, or they purchase it, and we all divide it up. It's been really helpful, because again, as I said, it's a team game. It's not just a team game with the community of folks like you. It's a team game with the other organizations. We're not working alone out there. We're working together more than ever, and COVID had a lot to do with that. Yeah. If you're giving to them, you're giving to us. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can give to them, and we get the food from them. If you give it to us, we buy it from them. So we're partners. We work under their auspices. We follow their rules. We're kind of part of we're called a satellite pantry. Yeah. You don't. That's correct. Money works best because you get more for the money. But I feel crass doing that. And it's fine. It's good to have food drives. It's good to bring the food. And sometimes we really need that particular thing, and it's hard to get. Oh yeah. We work with through the food bank. They have a program called Fresh Alliance, and they assign all the different food pantries, various stores that we pick up from. And so we have a whole bunch of them: Trader Joe's, Safeway, Albertsons. Well, was Albertsons, Fred Meyer, New Seasons, all anyone you can think of. We're getting food from them for the most part. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, we don't work with Costco. Someone else gets them. But we get Whole Foods, 2 different Whole Foods twice a week, and it's a lot of food. Yeah, I think pretty much every market does it, because they're dedicated to reducing food waste. And some of it still gets, well, I wouldn't say wasted, because when it comes through us, we compost what we can't use, so it still ends up being used in animal feed. Other questions? So if you go to our website, nhpdx.org, right on the very front page is a link to volunteer that will connect you with our volunteer coordinator, who then puts you through there's a bit of a process, especially with the new building. People, background checks and all that kind of stuff, but that's how you start. Yeah, fortunately, people are doing it anyway, even though it's not the law. Most, especially during COVID, the restaurants really stepped up. Really stepped up. A lot of them had to close, so they stepped up because they had to get rid of the food that they had. But it wasn't just that. They were really helping us out, and a lot of them still do. And then they also help places like Meals on Wheels that have different requirements because we have to have food labeled, it has to have dates, it has to have very specific things. So sometimes we can't use what we accept, but then we move it on to a place that can. And that's partly because we work for the food bank, and not everybody does. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, my experience with the churches around here, they're such action churches that we're not involved with every church around here, and perhaps we should be, and I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm sure a lot of it's very, very focused on just faith and not works. But I don't know how quickly that fills the pantry up. And so we see action, and action speaks volumes. Volumes, thank you. Yeah. Like, yeah, fresh herbs. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that stuff goes like crazy. Beans don't taste as good without the seasoning. So having all that kind of stuff really helps. We try to destigmatize the whole process of going through a food pantry, which is why we have this new building. But we also try to make sure people have the things offered to them that aren't just the basics. They have the ability to get spices and seasonings and herbs and the occasional luxury items and things like that. And that's where the stores really come in, but also the gardeners. Yeah. Yes. That's a problem we've been working on for a long time. People bring this up every year, and every year I'm like, yeah, I'm working on that, trying to get some kind of. Now that we have this building and we have some space, I think we can finally make that sort of thing happen, where we can do cooking demonstrations and offer recipes, and if we get turnips, we can show people what to do with them, that sort of stuff. Yeah. We're finally in a position to start thinking about that. Otherwise, we just didn't have space or the facilities. Now we do. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep. And we encounter that a lot, as you can imagine. And so we try to individualize our service to people. Usually people will come in and you can have this much of this thing, this much of that thing. But if we find out they don't have cooking facilities, or they're houseless or something like that, well, we're not going to force things onto them. They can't cook. We'll make sure they get ready to eat foods, easily heated up foods, that kind of thing. We work with the Safe Rest Villages quite a lot. And so when they order food boxes, yeah, we fill those up with just ready to eat foods, because that's all they can. They have no refrigeration, no nothing. Yeah. No. Unfortunately, that lot is going to be sold, but we have access to several other garden spots that are very attractive. I haven't seen them, and I don't know enough about them to speak too much, but I know they're there, and there's going to be some gardening happening. Hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yes. and without the stigma, and without being forced to have a bunch. When COVID first happened, we were kind of doing that out of lack of choice because we were just had to close our doors, and a lot of food got wasted. And so we were able to pivot and create a system where people can order food online and go through a order form and choose the foods they want based on availability. But they can choose what they want, and we can make sure they get what and they can tell us what they absolutely don't want, which they're very happy to do. and then we can make sure that happens. Yeah. There's food allergies, there's dietary restrictions, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yes. Yes, is how we do it. It depends on how much of what items we have. There's some things where it's just one for everybody because it's how it is, and then other things, like cans of beans, it can be based on your family size. You can take more. Precisely. Yep. And twice a month, people can go through twice a month. They get food boxes twice a month at delivery. Yep. Other questions? We have a lot of volunteers, but it's always kind of a revolving door too. So if you want to volunteer, definitely look into it. We have volunteers who work in the back and accept donations and fill food boxes. We have volunteers who work in the front of the house and assist shoppers. We have volunteers who do handyman work and all that kind of stuff. Every little job that we have, there's somebody who's willing. Not everybody wants to work directly with the public. And so there's kind of a place for everybody. We also have our senior center that's about to open in a couple weeks, and that's going to be partly volunteer-driven. So it's not just the food market, by the way. So there's more opportunity than that if you're interested in checking it out. I would just go online and talk to Julia, our coordinator. Well, most people it's the individuals, but when groups come, we try to accommodate the groups by having them all come for a particular project. Or, for example, Thursday mornings is when we get our Oregon Food Bank order, which is a huge truckload. And we have people who come every Thursday, but once in a while they get a break because we have a group who can do all the heavy lifting. And so that's a thing people can do. Repacking food, we get groups to do that. Beans and rice especially. Buying big bags and then repacking them. People can do that either off-site or on-site. So there's a lot of possibilities. Yes. Yes. Yeah. We have a low barrier system in our pantry. So whatever we ask of people, we don't actually ask for proof or anything. They could give you a different name even, and they come back, I'm Bob Smith, and then they'll find you in there. But we do anonymous check-ins, a lot of them, for people that don't want to be. They're a little harder to track because it's harder to tell if they've been there twice a month. But our folks have good eyes. They can tell who's, haven't I seen you? People don't really game it too much, so we don't worry about it. We want to err on the side of getting food to people and not err on the side of keeping people out. So even if somebody comes in and it's the third time in a month, we will let them go through and say, it's only 2 times a month, that kind of thing. Yes. 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 We have all kinds of hygiene items, toilet paper, cooking items, pet food. Sometimes clothing. We had a bunch of Columbia sportswear shirts that they just brought by, so we put them on the shelf. So books, pretty much anything people might want, we have a little corner for it, like any store would have. It's mostly food, but it has that other stuff. And you got a question? Okay. Oh yes. We although it's not that one's tough though, so that's a good thing to donate because it disappears quickly. It disappears. Yeah, we have baby stuff, diapers, formula, baby food. Yeah, that stuff's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If you go to 30th and Barber, where our building is, There's a big garage door. It says donations above it. It's easier to find than the old one. It has a doorbell, but they didn't put a speaker inside yet. So I'm still working on that one. You might have to pound on the door for a couple weeks. Yeah. Mhm. Well, in my experience of the community, they just take the reins. So a lot of times I work with little community groups that have already existed that are working on certain things like houselessness in the neighborhood and that sort of thing. Then they'll come to us and we'll partner with them to the extent that we can. And when it comes to, you know, who we serve, everybody deserves to eat. Everybody. And so we don't turn people away unless there's a really good reason, like, violent or something like that. I mean, if they're having a hard time, we try to help them. If they, maybe they're rough around the edges and don't look great, and they have a dog and all that, well, they still deserve to eat. And so we don't turn people away. And again, we err on the side of getting people fed as much as we can. Sometimes it means asking forgiveness later to the food bank, but, Absolutely, pet food. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these folks have pets, so there's a lot of the people that need it. Yeah, we work with a pet food bank. You may not have heard of them. They're called the Pongo Pet Fund. It's over in Southeast, and it's literally a pet food bank. And I go there once a month and pick up food, and I can see clients coming in, individuals coming in and getting food for their animals. That we don't offer that, but we try to direct people to the services that we don't have. I think if people were a senior center client, they're likely to have that kind of service available to them. We don't do it through the food. We do a lot, but it's hard to do. I'd like to. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Jim, yes, thank you. Did you want to say something, Barbara? Oh, okay, you want. Yes. Yes, Barbara.
So it has been my pleasure to be involved with the very, very, very first Southwest Hope food drive that was planned. So many, many years ago, Patty Kemble-Schmidt, who was the minister at the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, thought it would be nice if all the Southwest religious groups would get together for a food drive and benefit Neighborhood House. And so Joe Traw and I slugged through rainy nights to go over to St. Andrew's and plan the very first Southwest Hope food drive. And so a few months ago, I had this middle of the night epiphany, and I thought, I used to save those state quarters, and they're just gathering dust. Why don't I give all those state quarters? Because I didn't just save one of each state. I saved maybe 50 of each state. And so I thought, why don't I give them to Neighborhood House for their food program? And if they go to a bank and cash them in instead of going to a coin-changing machine, that could be a bundle. And so that's what I did. It took them a little while to find somebody who knew how to convert all of those coins. And so they were very, very happy, and I was delighted that it had gone that way. And recently, I've been decluttering my house so that I can stay in it. And so lo and behold, I found some more state quarters. And so I've just given Jim my new batch of state quarters, and it's not as much as the first time, but it's not bad. So I hope nobody hits them over the head on the way to the neighborhood house.
Right. Thank you. Yes, I think we could say much more. But Jim, I think what you don't mention is you are there tirelessly, and you continue to show up. And the 3 years that I've been here with Vermont Hills, you have been the face, the presence, the cheerleader. I think your level of energy has never decreased. I've never seen it decrease. It's always quite up there. But for the many ways that you help us connected and to be with our folks, thank you so much. I hope you'll continue to stay in conversation with Jim today after service.